Hey everybody, John Mark here. Welcome to Mark My Words. Welcome to a video I've been planning to do for a long time, and it's finally here. An in-depth analysis of who would win a second civil war or a second revolutionary war here in America. I'm going to go through an analysis by a person who claims to be a former red team planner for the government. I'll explain what red team planning is. And before I forget, after this video at some point, I'm going to be interviewing a former member of the Special Forces who's going to talk to us about some of these issues and his view of what a civil war in America could look like. Further, I also want to make it clear I advocate for peaceful separation of right and left in America. So don't misinterpret this as me calling for you to take any action other than simply to make sure you and your loved ones are prepared and safe in this type of eventuality. Also, before we get started, I need to quickly mention why is this so important? Because a civil war is virtually certain to happen in America at this point. Very soon, half of the voting population will have no political representation. The right wing in America very soon will never be able to win an election again. Donald Trump is the last Republican president, whether he wins in 2020 or not, because 70% of non-white people vote left, Democrat, and the vast majority of immigrants, both legal and illegal, into America are non-whites. And so very soon, not even the Electoral College will save the right wing. And so it's just a matter of time before the grassroots right figures out they'll never win any more elections. And when that happens, there's going to be a civil war. So that's why this video and this analysis is so important. What I'm going to give you by the end of this video is a scorecard. It's going to give you an idea of the advantages that the right has versus the advantages that the left would have in a civil war scenario in America. I'm going to have the various factors that would affect the outcome of a civil war in America. And for each factor, we're going to see whether the right has an advantage or the left has an advantage, or if it's a tie. And in some cases, I will give one side or the other a big advantage if there's a really significant advantage that one side has over the other. And what I'm going to use as a starting point is an analysis I found online by a person who claims to be a former red team planner for the United States government. Red team planning is something that all sorts of different organizations do, including the United States government, of course. And what it is they set out a red team and a blue team, and they run out a scenario to see if the organization can withstand some type of attack. So for example, in computer security, you'll have a company that runs a red team scenario where a group of people in the company pretend to be attackers or hackers, and they try to attack the company's computer security. So that's what red team planning is. So this person is claiming to have worked for the government as a red team planner, as a person that said, okay, if I was going to be a revolutionary and attack the United States government as a revolutionary force within the United States of America, this is what I would do. And of course, the government, we can assume, has run these scenarios many, many times. This person claims to have been involved in that. So I'm going to use it as my jumping off point, and then I'm going to add my commentary to it, and we're going to put together our scorecard and see where we fall. So let's start with what this person says. He says, former red team planner for the government here, the United States government has extensively studied the concept of Second American Civil War, along with the assumption that it will be left versus right. I wonder why they might possibly do that. I'll interject here. Obviously, the reason the government would run that type of a scenario is because they know that's how it would play out. It would be the grassroots right wing versus the left and the elite establishment. That would be the teams.
To me, it really looks like we've kind of crossed the path of a point of no return. There's just too many extremes. There's too many ideas and actions that are happening that looks like it would be very difficult to get back to any kind of normalcy. You know, this year's been just very crazy as far as, if you look at COVID, the things that happened with that, the lockdowns, the extended lockdown. Some people are still in like lockdown, I think, you know, except unless you're rioting or protesting. But you know, that then going on with the riots, the looting and things like that, we are, you know, dealing with a lot, and a lot of laws like habeas corpus, the writ of habeas corpus. I saw just got removed by a judge in the area, so that basically means that you can be arrested without any kind of reasoning. You know, there's just so many things that's going on. Minneapolis is disbanding police, the last I heard, and they're going to some kind of community safety, and whatever that means, you know. And I just think that being that, and this is an election year, this could potentially happen across the globe, you know, or not the globe, but across the U.S. And what's going to happen whenever all of a sudden they disband police? It'll be the Wild West. Community safety, come on, you know. This will be the safety right here, you know. Training program, it's going to be perfect. It's what you would need if you, especially if you're going into military. This is a great program. It's called Tactical Athlete, you know, tactical environment, fighting, moving. It's going to be free, so all you gotta do is go get an account set up. That starts number one. Number two is always firearms for me, because two is combatives, but combatives is one of those things that, like, you know, you got to dedicate a lot of time to. But if you can, go get some pads, work on punching, kicking, sparring, get in that environment of getting it, hitting and hitting back, you know, it's someone else. Okay, then beyond that is firearms, because firearms is a perishable skill, shooting, you know. And if your family don't know firearms or how to use them, manipulate them, they need to know how to do that as well. You need to take them out there and shoot that. Now that's all kind of software stuff. Let's move on to more software stuff, and what we're going to talk about now is PACE planning. I did a video on that, and I'll put at the end of this video: PACE planning, primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. This is something we do in the military. You need to come up with, create PACE plans in case of whatever, all kinds of situations happen, and you're prepared for it. There's this friend of mine, his name's 1,000 Yard Style on Instagram. He's a fashion guy, but he was a former recon Marine, and he keeps these books with all these scenarios in there, scenario-driven PACE plans. So he just opens the book, sees what he has to do. Oh, pack car, this. So you need to come up with that. I think he has those on his Instagram too. So while you're on Instagram, go to 1,000 Yard Style too. Tell him I sent you over there.
Bienvenidos a un día más a Cultura Chatarra. Mi nombre es Crypto y lo prometido es deuda. Acá está el video de la guerra civil de Estados Unidos, que ya estamos a puertas, y les voy a explicar por qué. Vi un video súper interesante llamado Civil War II in America, ¿Quién ganará?, de John Mark, y él hablaba de un tema que a mí me parece espectacular, que es el hecho de que después de esto la derecha no va a volver a ganar una elección nunca más. Después de Trump, da lo mismo si se reelige o no, no va a ganar por la cantidad de inmigrantes que votan por la izquierda, y cada vez menos blancos quedan, llegando a ser minoría. De ahora en adelante la izquierda va a salir una y otra vez elegida. Por lo tanto va a tener cero representación política a la derecha. Y acá sería la derecha la que llevara a una inminente guerra civil. Saldría a las calles a pelear y a cambiar la situación. Si nos ponemos a analizar, acá habría que convencer a los militares que están ellos bajo un ataque terrorista comunista. Recuerda que los militares son seres humanos y no es llegar y atacar a sus propios compatriotas. Por lo tanto, el hecho de meterse ahí, tienes que convencerlos muy bien. Estados Unidos tiene una cantidad de ex militares, ex marines gigantesco, y muchos de ellos son de derecha y van a salir a las calles. También hay que contar con los civiles armados e ir viendo por estados, porque existen estados demócratas y estados republicanos. Van a tratar de tomarse la izquierda ciertos estados que son demócratas, que pueden formar una fortaleza y para ellos funcionarle bien. Los de derecha, en cambio, van a estar con sus estados que son mucho más republicanos, y que también hay que tomar en cuenta que los republicanos aman las armas y tienen más de una arma. Entonces la cantidad armada de los republicanos son muchísimos. Los uniformados republicanos también van a estar de este lado, de migración, donde los migrantes americanos que han llegado en los últimos años van a estar apoyando a la izquierda, mientras los norteamericanos que llevan mucho tiempo lo más probable es apoyen a la derecha. En todo esto tienes que ver también todo este concepto cultural que trataron de meter en todo el mundo, de lavarnos los cerebros con el buenismo, con la hegemonía, y metiéndonos el marxismo de esta manera con con las políticas identitarias. Estados Unidos sería el país que se rebelase primero contra esto y por eso la guerra civil. Recordemos que la izquierda nos ha tratado de llevar al colapso a los países neoliberalistas, como le llaman ellos, a tener estas guerras civiles. En el caso de Estados Unidos, tendrían una guerra cruenta dependiendo de quiénes van a estar participando y cuántos de ellos están dispuestos a salir a pelear, pero también la parte empresarial de Estados Unidos va a tener mucho que ver. Acá hay que desembolsar dinero. ¿Y cuál de los dos lados va a desembolsar más dinero? Recordemos el apoyo de George Soros que va a tener para la parte de izquierda. La derecha va a tener que entender que va a tener que gastar mucho dinero. El hecho es que estamos viendo hoy en día la posibilidad de una guerra civil en cualquier momento, donde van a pelear la derecha contra la izquierda. Y este va a ser el principio de muchos países más. Primero va a ser Estados Unidos, segundo va a ser Brasil, después vamos a venir nosotros en Chile, que yo les contaba en el video anterior. Y así, países que ya están dominados por la izquierda, es más difícil que eso suceda, pero eventualmente puede generar en que los patriotas de esos países o la derecha de esos países, si es que existe, porque en Venezuela, en Argentina, pareciera que no existe o muy pequeña, es más difícil, pero en otros países puede suceder. Es más, puede ser posible que hasta Hong Kong despierte después de todo esto. Y países europeos les pase algo similar, como lo es Italia, Francia, España. Estamos ante la posibilidad de unas múltiples guerras civiles. Me gustaría saber su opinión, que lo pongan acá abajo en los comentarios. Denle like si les gustó este video, compártalo con los amigos y recuerden que ¡viva la libertad, carajo!